Narrow walls, chaotic moments, but nonetheless one of the longest tracks on the calendar in terms of lap time. Welcome along to round 16 here at Breakout Racing League for Tier 3, and we're headed off to the Singapore Grand Prix, the Marina Bay Street Circuit, the first night race ever made in Formula 1. Singapore Grand Prix, 23 corners make up this track, 3 DRS zones, one going into turn 1, the second one going into turn 7, and the last one going into turn 14. This track, as of recently, has been known to cause a little bit of trouble in terms of traction, and with qualifying, who knows what could happen for this Grand Prix. My name is Miniko, and alongside me is Zach. Now, Zach, it's chaotic, it's narrow. This race is known to cause many safety cars. What are you expecting out of this?
Say the least. Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of chaos. I'm looking at Tier 3 chat right now, and it is supposed to be monsoon rain for the race. So that is going to be more than chaotic, really, but I am very excited for this Grand Prix. So on Realistic Chat, we had a great race, especially through the qualifying, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I apologize. I had to say that once. I had to get you a little bit flustered there. But anyway, I'm expecting a very great race here at Tier 3. But you have the Tier 3 standings up, I'm pretty sure. And it would be nice if you would start being able to go through it. Is Rod is actually in the lead by over a race gap, and I'll let you take over the rest for it and go into detail for it.
You are right, I definitely do have the standings up at the time being, and right now it is Ron Swanson, the Ferrari, currently leading the standings with 197 points. But in P2, who's been on a charge as of recently, 2 podiums and a race win in the past 3 races, it's the Mercedes of Gary with 186 points, and then not too far behind is the Red Bull of BRL Ardell. Then in 4th, we've got the other Red Bull of Mitchie. He has not entirely had the best of times as of recently. We'll see how he gets on here in Singapore. And then rounding off the top 5 is Kieran Evans with 80 points, just 3 behind the Red Bull of Mitchie. We'll see if any of that will change today. And, well, who can master this very tough circuit in which the first person to cross the line is going to be Skeppy.
Yeah, Skippy already on a first try was a complete lap, by the way. If you can't tell, COVID is making me feel very bad, so I probably won't be speaking much. But Skippy in the Haas, he's a Tier 3 reserve. He's probably picking and choosing what races he's going to run, and he decided to pick Singapore. Singapore is going to be one of the most challenging circuits on the calendar, and like you said, it is actually the longest Grand Prix on the calendar, so it's going to be an endurance race for these guys. It's like I told you, because I'm a Red Bull manager for Realistic. If I was a race engineer for these guys, I'd give them a reminder that this is just an endurance race. You can't win the race in lap 1, but you sure can't lose it.
Yep, we'll just have to wait and see how that is going to pan out. And obviously, another factor to go on with this is in terms of strategy as well. The strategy, who knows what is going to be the fastest way to go through this track. Obviously, nullifying safety cars. From what I know, though, they could possibly be a medium to hard or a soft medium. And right now, the only person that has selected the medium compounded tire is the AlphaTauri of Yeet So far, everyone on the softs, but that is because it is a wet race, as you mentioned before. So I would not be surprised that everyone's going to be on the soft compounded tire. And going through the third sector right now, about to end his lap, is going to be Skeppy in the Haas. Rounds the final 2 corners. He's kept it valid all throughout. What's the time everyone's got to beat? It's a 138.0. Next person to try and beat that is going to be Gary. He already has quite a few pole positions in his career. What's it going to be this time around? It's a 37.5, but he has it validated, so he'll have another go.
Yeah, it looked like that invalidation to me looked pretty on purpose, really. Probably to grip up the track, really. But Ron is the next driver to cross the line, but he's just now starting his lap before our driver. Like you said, he is leading the championship. Really, I keep bringing it up. Zardell goes fastest with the 36.6. Is Ron's consistency is really tough to beat, really. So in order to beat Ron for this championship, now we're going on the later stages, this championship, really. This has been a really long season as well. But anyway, in order to be consistency, you got to be even more consistent than Ron. But at least in my opinion, that's going to be pretty hard to do. But still, there's 9 races left of the season, so anything can happen. Or is it 8? Yeah, it's 8.
9.
Oh.
But including this race, it is 9 races as it stands, obviously, since they haven't done this race. But yeah, the championship can still go in many different directions as we are getting through the latter stages. But as of now, going through the championship standings, no one is knocked out in terms of being in contention for the Drivers' Championship after doing the many calculations I've done today. Currently, there are 234 points on offer, and Ron has 197, so quite a big gap between maximum amount of points and the amount that Ron has, but that is definitely going to decrease. And we'll just have to see how these drivers are going to try and catch up to Ron. And like you said, his consistency, that is going to be one to watch out for. But there's also other people to watch out for, such as Ardell, who is on pole, and also Gary, which the last couple of races, he has been on a charge, as Ron Swanson, who we mentioned before, goes up to P3 with a 137.1 directly behind his teammate.
Yeah, the next person to cross the line will be the Alpine of Jigsaw Rage. Looks like he's on an outlap and he sets a 42. That lap probably isn't valid, probably just doing some type of banker, really. But Yeet Doggo on the mediums, like you pointed out already earlier in the session, he is currently on a lap. We're going through Sector 1 now, about to cross into Sector 2. But still, a driver I'm looking out for, really, at least for this Grand Prix, is the Alfa Romeo driver of DXDShigo, who's also on an outlap, who is also about to start his lap time, as Mitchie gets a snap of oversteer, and he has to lift off the throttle, and that puts him P6 with a 38.7.
Not the way he wanted to end his flying lap. It was looking decent, but unfortunately that snap has cost him a bunch of time, and that puts some 7/10 behind Skeppy, and that is not what he wants. There's only currently 7 drivers that have set a time out of the 16 that we have, which is surprisingly pretty high regarding Tier 3 attendance, really, as their average is 13.1 if last time I checked. But 16 drivers and, well, many corners to not mess up and many laps at the same time. We'll just have to see how they are able to get through this. As of right now, Ardell still top of the times by quite a margin too, just under 4/10 ahead of the Ferrari. But we're only halfway through, and we'll just have to see who can put themselves on the top in preparation for as you said, a monsoon race, as Yeet Doggo crosses the line on the medium compound tire with a 37.9, 1.2 off the pace of Ardell.
Yeah, like I said also as well with the Alfa Romeo driver DXDShigo, he set a purple sector 2, but I'm not sure if that is a valid or a game glitch, but we're going to have to wait and see. So he almost hits the wall there, has to lift off the throttle, which will tamper his lap time a little bit as he misses the apex and he actually kisses the wall there. I doubt he has any wing damage from it, but it's not looking like a clean lap from the Alfa Romeo driver DXDShigo as he hits the curbs there. He's going to, yes, and he backs out with a 38.2.
Still puts it at P7 directly ahead of Mitchie, but yeah, that is not the lap time that he would have wanted. Obviously, there is still halfway of this qualifying session to go, so anything can still change. The next person to cross the line is going to be Kieran in the Alpine, as he actually loses the rear and he crashes. And that is him out of qualifying. The last corner, one corner too many. That is Kieran, done and dusted. And he actually set a lap time, surprisingly, and he put himself P9.
Yeah, but the question is, how long will that last, really? Because considering like the track is gonna grip up, especially in the late signs of qualifying, and Jigsaw Rage put in a banker lap time. So if everyone could put a valid lap down and is a respectable lap time, I think Kieran Evans will be the last driver on the grid with a P16. But I wouldn't say that yet. We just gotta wait and see, really. And something we haven't talked about is the other Ferrari driver with the winner, P2 right now. It's really great considering that Ron has been the one driver, at least so far, for Constructors Championship. As I do not have my phone out right now to see the Constructors Championship, so be nice if you could check that for me. But Whiffy being P2, at least for now, is going to help out Ferrari in this Grand Prix.
I will definitely tell you the championship for the constructors, and as of right now, it is currently Red Bull that is leading the constructors, obviously with Ardell being P3 in the championship and Mitchie being P4. But they're not super far away. Only 234 points in relation to Mercedes, in which Mercedes has been on a charge, more specifically with Gary, and they are only 12 points behind. And then 10 points behind Mercedes is actually Ferrari. So as we just mentioned, Ron obviously leading the championship, and Whiffy, who grabbed a podium last week. So he's definitely finding some more pace and some more consistency, and that is going to help their championship as they're going to try and chase after Red Bull. Then 20 points behind, you got Alfa Romeo, in which we only have one Alfa Romeo currently leading, which is DXT Ishigo. Then P5, you've got Aston Martin, that with 132 points. Ardell in the Red Bull sets a 36-1, and also Skeppy went up to P2. So great lap for both the Haas and the Red Bull. We'll just have to see how that pans out. There's still 6 minutes left to go.
Yes, Whiffy was on the lap. He was 2 tenths, but he invalidated. But now goes for sector 1. Now the Ferrari, Ron Swanson, he's doing good. Keeps it clean, very smooth on the throttle. And he's going to go through, I believe this is turn 4, very smooth on the throttle and steering, which is going to put down a great sector 1 time, I believe, which will probably be around a 27 flat, 26.8, a 10th up on his lap time. Now put him ahead of Whiffy, but still behind the front row of Skeppy, and actually now that is Potato P2 for 36.6. So it seems like we said last week, I'm not sure about penalties, but the Williams and Potato got a podium on track, but I have not looked at the penalties yet. So I'm not sure if he's kept that podium or it even got reported. As now DXT's P5 splits the Ferraris of Whiffy and Ron, as like I said earlier, the lap times are now starting to ramp up.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Obviously, Ardell's still top of the times, 5 tenths ahead of Potato, but the lap times are definitely starting to come down as only 2 people have yet to set a lap time, and that is of Mr. Titan and Stig. Stig currently on an out lap, and Titan, interestingly, still in the pits, so it's a question as to whether he'll qualify. But Ron, currently going through the third sector, he has kept a valid championship leader. He said he's not the best at qualifying, he's better in the race. Where can he put that Ferrari? It is P4, directly ahead of his teammate with a 136.8. Next switch to cross the line, I thought was going to be Piastri, but he actually dives into the pits, as I think Potato is also backed off from his lap. Hard to say. Yeah. No, he hasn't actually, so he's still pushing, which is very interesting. We'll see if he is improving on his lap time or not, as he's currently going through the third sector, through the final couple of corners. Still has kept it valid. No, he doesn't. He dives into the pit, so he just had his ERS on to trick me.
The bamboozle. It happened to me at Monza, and it's happened to you now, Singapore. So it goes both ways.
Honestly, about time I get bamboozled. It was about time.
Yeah, it really is.
Hasn't happened to me yet.
Well, Doggo and the AlphaTauri is on an outlap, so like you pointed out, everyone is now as soft as actually Ardell.
Oh. It's a big implications late into qualifying. Currently the man on pole position, Ardell, has crashed.
No.
So that is him out of qualifying. That was not in the pits.
No, that was
him.
That was
it?
Yeah, it's in the pits. That was Mitchie has no front wing. He did it in the pit lane.
Okay, hang on a minute. Now I'm just thinking back to, I think it was 2013 or something. Sebastian Vettel did something very similar around this exact same track. He only did around 1 lap in Q3, and he managed to get that car into pole position just Ardell, he's only set 2 laps on the softs where you can do 3. So he's clearly confident that he can keep that pole position, but we'll just have to wait and see who can improve. And right now, the one person I'm looking to see improve is the Mercedes of Gary. He's currently in P8. He has to improve by 1.3, I would say, if he wants to beat Ardell.
Yeah, Doggo is actually 6 tenths up on his lap time, which will put him at a 37.3. That will put him ahead of Solar, but behind DXD. But have to see if he keeps it valid through Sector 3. As he actually hits the wall, that will be front wing damage. There's no way
Breaking a little bit too deep there.
Is it front wing damage? I can't really tell. Yes, it is.
Well, he dives
He's
into the
coming
pits.
pit lane.
Next person to cross the line is going to be the other AlphaTauri of Stig. And where does he put that car? He puts himself into P7. So first lap for him, and it's a decent lap time, and that puts him basically smack dab in the middle.
Yeah.
I believe Titan is actually starting a lap.
Yeah, everyone is on an out lap now.
Oh, he's crashed!
Oh. Well.
Possibly got into the curb on the exit of turn 1 and turn 2, losing the rear, and that is him done before he even got to turn 3. And he will start P16 in this race with no lap time. Everyone's now starting to come out of the pits now, including Potato, including Ron, and also of Gary. Gary is currently on a lap. We're going to go on board with the Mercedes. He's 2 tenths up on his lap time, but it's not a purple sector 1 just yet. But we'll see what he can do in the second sector as he pinches that corner, then make sure he doesn't hit the wall that's sticking out there, and he manages to do so beautifully. Then the infamous Singapore sling of turn 10. He doesn't hit the inside wall. Then it's another tricky section. Right, left, right again before breaking into a hairpin of another left of turn 13. Make sure he gets the power down nicely. Traction, DRS open, and he is blasting down to the sector 2-3 split. He's 5 tenths up on his time. Not a purple sector 2 though. So this isn't the best of lap times for Gary as it stands, as he actually taps the wall a little bit going into the next sequence of corners. He invalidates. So that is him done, unless he can charge the battery enough to the point where he can set another lap time, but this is not what the Mercedes wants. Actually, wait a minute. I don't think Ron is going to be able to make the... no, he's not. Ron is not going to be able to make the flag here. He's currently stuck behind an Aston Martin. The Aston Martin is on a lap, but Ron's not going to be able to make the flag here.
It's going to be close, and nope, he cannot.
No, he's done.
Potato's backed off. Whiffy, it's barely up on his sector 2 time. So, unless... Is Gary on a lap still? I believe he is. He has very low battery though, so it's gonna be down to how low the battery is, especially for that long straight. As he's actually...
Well, he wants to get this lap in.
Yeah, he needs to. Seems like DXD's 3 tenths up. That'll only put him P3. So I think
Whiffy comes across the line. He goes P3 in the Ferrari. A good position for him. Where does Ichigo go? He goes on the front row with a 136.3. A great lap time from the Alfa Romeo, but it's just not enough to beat Ardell for pole position. Next person to cross the line, I believe, is going to be, well, I thought it was going to be Bad Bunny, but he has invalidated. So that is his qualifying done. Next up is going to be the McLaren of Solarv. He is currently sitting in P8 as it stands. Can he improve his position? Currently with a 137.2, he's just over a second off of Ardell. Comes around the final corner. Where does he put that McLaren? He puts himself 3rd. So Ardell might be able to keep pole position here, unless Gary has gotten a beautiful 3rd sector. Where does he put that Mercedes? Only P8. That's qualifying done. Ardell on pole position. Ishigo on the front row, and Gary all the way down in P8, Ron in P7.
Yeah, but at least it should be coming to qualifying. Doesn't matter as much. It depends on the track you're at, especially at Singapore. So track position does somewhat matter, but knowing that it's 31 laps and knowing how tight these walls are, so if your energy is low, you're bound to make mistakes, really. So we're just gonna have to wait and see see how this race pans out in relation to qualifying.
Yeah, we definitely have to wait and see. But Ardell on pole position. That is his second pole position of the season. Ishigo lining out the front row. Solar P3 ahead of Potato. That's Whiffy. Skepian P6 ahead of Ron. Gary. Stig. Bad Bunny Flow rounding out the top 10 ahead of Rage. Yitago. Piastri. Michi. Kieran. And Titan, the only one to not set a lap time. With a wet race, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, really. So I'm glad I'm not racing Tier 3, especially knowing that I have COVID and it's a wet race. So not qualifying, and yeah, there's the rain. But anyway, having COVID and racing sucks anyway. Just glad I'm not racing in a wet race in Singapore.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Ardell saying in the chat, shades of Vettel in 2013. So I was right. It was 2013. And yeah, that was definitely what you did there in qualifying. It was good enough for pole position, so I mean, fair play. But yeah, definitely a Vettel mentality right there. And going over to the race director, everyone is on the wets. So when they were saying it was monsoon rain, it wasn't kidding.
Yeah. You know how long we're gonna have like a 3-minute formation lap.
Yeah, exactly. 2-minute lap times.
Oh my, this is gonna be a very long race.
I just got a weather report in the chat from FinFan. A full wet race. Lightning/thunderstorms. 10 minutes in. So if the rain gets too bad, which it might by the sounds of it, we could possibly see a safety car or a virtual safety car to kind of stop the race since the conditions are too bad. We've seen it before in previous races this season, not just from Tier 3, but also in other tiers. Realistic in France, they had that at one point. So we'll just have to see if that is going to be the case here tonight. And, well, with Singapore obviously being known to have safety cars, it is 100% guarantee at this point.
Well, so, I'm looking at the leaders. They're even struggling to even make the corner.
Yeah.
So
that just shows how bad the conditions are.
We're gonna see someone drifting at the end of this race. That's for sure.
But, I would not be surprised.
But something you haven't brought up yet is that since you qualified in the dries and in the race it is wets, you do not the requirement of having to change tire compounds. It's not in effect since it's race, since it is a wet race. So you can last on this Grand Prix without doing any kind of pit stop. So the question is, I believe we're going to see some drivers make an attempt to last this whole race on 31 lap all the wets. It's going to be a very tough task to do, but knowing this game's tire wear, I think someone will be able to get it done.
We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how that pans out in this race. And as you said, 31 laps. Usually with the lap times that they were setting, such as 36s in qualifying, which usually will be 41s or something in the race in the dry. Now that it's wet, it's going to be at least like 15 seconds slower, considering the amount of corners. We could possibly see 2-minute lap times. But yeah, it is going to be very much an endurance race this time around. You thought it was going to be an endurance race in the dry. In the wet, it's just become even more so. We'll just have to see how everyone can get through. Right now, Ardell is currently going over to the grid to line up on pole position. This is only the second time he has gone onto pole position, amazingly, despite his pace. Ishigo lining up on the front row. And really, the people to watch out for are going to be the fourth row of Ron Swanson and Gary. And we'll just have to see how they'll fare when the 5 red lights go out.
Yeah, so turn 1, it's going to be even a more tough task. My question is, will we see something in relation to 2017? But no point in speculating yet. Everyone is lining up on the grid, and now we are waiting for everyone to load in to do 5 lights, which is on now.
5 red lights on ahead of the drivers. Lights out and away we go. They weren't held for that long, but it's a very tentative start for everyone. Ardell getting a decent jump and managing to stay ahead of DXC Ishigo. Ishigo defending a little bit from Solar behind, but he manages to do so. Potato looking a little interested on Solar, but so far everyone keeping it clean. Potato defending from Solar yet again and manages to stay ahead in the Williams, and that's now P3. Ahead of Solar, Whiffy, Gary is moved up to P6, Ron stays at P7, Skeppy down to P8. That is Stig around, you're right, at the exit of turn 5. I think he's managed to keep it going though, and he'll slot behind. No front wing damage either, but everyone so far, amazingly, keeping it clean as Gary's now making a move on Whiffy around the outside, I think, but is now having to slot behind as Whiffy manages to get ahead. Now he's under pressure from Ron Swanson. Ron has the inside into the next corner, and Ron almost looking interested on his own teammate, but he's just having to settle behind. But Ron and Gary still going wheel to wheel. Ron having the inside, and it gets shoved wide does Gary. He still manages to dive it on the inside. That was risky. Contact between the two. Gary, though, just manages to stay out of the wall and will have to slot behind for the time being. But Ardell already managing to pull a gap of 1.6 seconds. He's had a stormer of a start.
Yeah, really, it's something I would not be surprised. And if that is Mitchie,
Yellow flag and Mitchie is round.
No wing damage, at least I could see, but you know how difficult it must be for these drivers for.
Oh, another person's round. That's Titan.
Yeah, very, very, very tentative start from like everyone. Basically, no one has any sort of grip, at least for now. We have to get the track rubbered in, but imagine how difficult it is for these drivers to even see right now, because I can barely see from the commentator's point of view.
Ardell leads the first lap ahead of Ishigo. It is definitely looking very bad around here. It's already a virtual safety car.
I wonder.
Skeppy is into the pits.
So is
he hasn't lost his front wing. Could it possibly be? Or maybe, no. I think Piastri still has his front wing.
Mitchie's in for a front wing change. Titan's in. Skeppy's in a front wing change.
They still have front wings. Oh, it was Titan. It was Titan. He's missing his entire front wing.
Oh, so I thought it was for weather.
I thought it was weather related.
I would have thought it was too.
Yeah, but the race is now neutralized. It's not a full course safety car. It is just a virtual, so they just had to mine the delta, and everyone has to go around the same pace. Ardell already 2.8 ahead of Ishigo. Ardell already having a great time here in Singapore, building quite the gap. There's still a long way to go, but already Ardell has definitely made it work. Ishigo staying in P2, Potato making the move up to P3, and that's a drive-through penalty for Piastri. Oh no!
This race has went from bad to worse. That's a Martin driver. He hasn't had the best of seasons here in the Breakout Racing League. As DXC actually can barely get on the throttle really, and is still struggling as Ron gets ahead of his teammate, and that is the yellow flag for the Williams driver.
And that's for Bad Bunny.
Seems like he just lost traction. He has no front wing, I believe.
I think he's just missing end plate, but it looks like yeah, he's left side end plate gone for the Williams. And obviously, if you're already missing an end plate in the dry, in the wet, it's just worse because you're already understeering all over the place. But he will no doubt have to come into the pits. And well, I'm honestly surprised that there wasn't a lap 1 safety car, and it was a good thing that there wasn't a Singapore 2017 moment at the front between the top 3. If you guys don't remember what happened, it was Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Räikkönen, and Max Verstappen. Räikkönen got an excellent start from 3rd. Vettel went to go and cover off Verstappen, and he managed to make Verstappen collide with Räikkönen, and Räikkönen slid into the side of not only Verstappen, but Alonso was included as well. And Vettel had massive damage on the side pod and was forced to retire. That was 3 retirements there. Luckily, there are no retirements this time around. Bad Bunny now into the pits. I'm honestly surprised they even settled that when it was nearly 4 years ago.
Yeah, really. That shows how fast time flies by. I didn't watch F1 until really last year, so can't really say my piece
Yeah, I've
on
been
it,
watching
really.
since 2008, so that had something to do with it.
Yeah.
It's definitely still wet conditions by the looks of it. Obviously, Bad Bunny has pitted onto a new set of wets. He is now down in P16. Ishigo's starting to catch up to Ardell a little bit. It was almost 3 seconds between the two, but now Ishigo's starting to find a little pace now as he's built a gap for Potato and is now starting to close that gap between him and the Red Bull. So we could possibly see a battle for the lead in the next coming laps.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing to catch and then to pass them. And that is the VSC, that monster weather. That is for sure.
Has to be, yeah. Looking over, I'm just going to check everyone's front wings here. Bad Bunny, he's fine. I think Titan, yeah, he's good. Piastri, he is fine. Mitchie, he's good. Skeppy, good.
Everyone's good.
Stag, yeah. So that is definitely weather related. Said 10 minutes in that the lightning and thunderstorms would start to kick in. Oh, Nishigo spun!
He's kept it clean, he's good. Stig's DNF. Oh. Stig's DNF'd as well.
Yes. Going forward with Skeppy, let's see how that's occurred.
Loss of traction.
Oh. Must have been. But that is now the first retirement in this Grand Prix on lap 3. Ishigo spinning around on the safety car, or at least the virtual safety car as it was, and that has cost him only 1 place, amazingly. But I'm just gonna go on board with one of these drivers. I mean, just look at those tires on Ishigo. They're practically crystal clear due to the amount of rain. So that's how you know how badly it's raining right now.
Yeah. Wow. Something I do want to point out is that DXT has actually underfueled his car because he's already on yellow. So this is a smart move.
Well, luckily the safety car will help with that.
Yeah, that's actually a very smart play. Secure and Evans and both Rage are into the pit lane for...
Ooh, that is a double stack for Alpine.
Yeah.
Actually, they're quite a decent ways apart, so maybe not.
Maybe.
Oh! And Rage nearly loses the rear on the exit.
That was close.
Yeah, luckily. Obviously, if you cross the pit exit white line, you will get a warning first, and then you'll get a penalty for doing that. And well, he's just managed to escape with that, and now sits P14 just ahead of Bad Bunny, as everyone's now going to bunch up behind the safety car. And well, I do not expect the safety car to go in anytime soon.
Yeah, we're already an hour and a half away from Tier 4. If this race is going like how it is right now, I would not be surprised to see some sort of delay for Tier 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as of right now, we're about, an hour and a half, like you said. So if this race lasts an hour and a half, I might as well go to bed.
Yeah. But hey,
like that is an astronomically long time. And if this is Tier 3, who knows what Tier 4 is going to bring?
Yeah, who knows? They're expected to bring on a full grid.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be a very interesting race nonetheless. Obviously, Tier 4 is known for their high attendance. The lowest they've had is 15, and the highest they've had is, of course, a full grid. So we'll just have to see how that goes on. But we're not here for that. We're here for Tier 3, and right now, still monsoon conditions. Ardell still leading the way, lap 5 at 31. If I knew the math off the top of my head, we're just about under 1/6 of the race done.
Oh my. Fastest lap of this Grand Prix is a 2-minute 2-second lap time.
And I thought Formula 2 was bad. They were setting 2-minute 6s. They're doing 2-minute 2s in Formula 1 cars. And F1 cars, they have quite the pace advantage over F2. So that is just insane.
Yeah. I think
then again, we haven't had much running.
think.
Sprightly saying hoping Tier 4 has better weather. I hope so too.
Yeah,
For my sake.
I'm not contacting
boy.
Tier 4. COVID's too bad, man. COVID sucks.
It looks like I had to find someone to do that then.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll just probably ask that now, but yeah,
I
it's
think
definitely
it'd
gonna
be
be.
better to do it now.
I'm doing that now. I'm doing it. There we go. So, lap 5, 31, long way to go. We're still waiting on Kieran Evans, and, from Mitchie all the way down to Kieran Evans to line up behind the safety car. And Kieran Evans is all the way in Sector 2. Safety car is all the way in Sector 3. Yeah, we're going to be here a while.
Oh. And I think it would be fitting that goes back around us. I'll be back. Trying to keep streaming it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm tempted to get a snack or something as well, but, you know, someone's got to at least be here so then they can, you know, at least entertain in some way. I don't know. I have a bit of a runny nose going on right now. Lovely. Going over to, I would say, let's go over to the position changes as of right now. Ardell currently staying stationary. Potato gone up 2 positions from starting in P4. Then it's Ishigo down 1. Solar down 1 as Mitchie gets a 5-second for speeding in the pit lane as he actually retires. So Mitchie saying, I'm not racing in these conditions, and said, screw it.
I just came back. What did Mitchie retire to the pit line?
Yes, he did. So he's saying, I'm not having these conditions.
Don't blame him. Especially knowing how bad this game is. I wouldn't be willing to do this either.
Yeah, for one, it's Singapore. Two, it's freaking monsoon conditions. And 3, there's going to be a multitude of safety cars. One thing that's for sure, though, is that nobody's hit the back of another person, so there's no drive-thrus, luckily. So people are keeping their space.
Stick in the chat, Ghost. So for comparison of how bad this is, imagine driving on ice with slicks. Wow.
I mean, looks like it, yeah. I just want to find a good on-board where there's a bunch of spray coming off to someone just to see how bad the conditions are, but they're going too slow paced to really see that.
Potato would be good. He got close to Ardell and you could barely see, so we have to wait.
Well, hopefully the safety car will be in this lap, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Here you go, look at him now. You can barely see the light.
Oh yeah, there's the spray. Ah, finally, there we go. We're gonna get some racing in. Safety car is now in this lap. Finally, I won't be falling asleep midway.
Yeah. We're gonna see some more 2 minutes twos.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I'd probably be doing similar lap times if this were me, but it's not. It's probably saying can't imagine. Did not have much experience in the wet with no traction control. Yeah, have fun. If you haven't tried that, have fun.
I've went no traction entering this game. Like exiting 2020, going into 2021, I turned off traction. And I couldn't imagine how bad this is because I can even barely do no traction on wet, like normal wet weather.
You're basically drifting 90% of the time.
And Ardell is going.
I was just about to say that. Yep, you're right. Ardell has gone. Very tentatively, though, but he's crossed the line. Race is now resumed, and he's got a decent jump over Potato. Ishigo already having a little bit of a look, but is not able to do anything just yet. So far, everyone just staying stationary for the time being. No one really making any moves, except for GXR Rage and Bad Bunny, as GXR Rage is slotting behind Bad Bunny now for P11 in this race. And Ishigo still very much on the back of Potato. And just looking on board, it is terrible how bad those conditions are. But he pulls out to the left-hand side of Potato. Gonna dive it on the inside down into turn 7. Does he make the move stick? Yes, he does. So Ishigo, without DRS, makes the move up into P2. Is gonna try and chase after Ardell as he did before the safety car. A bit of commotion going on in the back. So I believe that's Ron Swanson trying to get ahead of Solar for P4 in this race. Solar still sticking on the back of Potato for P3 though, so it's already a bit of a train forming as it stands. We'll just have to see if anyone will manage to just keep it out of the wall at least. And so far, everyone keeping it clean.
If I was these drivers, if I was in their shoes, my goal wasn't even to pass anyone. My goal would be to keep the car on the tarmac, really, because you can barely see. I'm even curious to see.
I think I just saw a bit of a moment there from Yeet Doggo, but I think he's just managed to keep it going.
Yeah, and it seemed like Whiffy. No, that was not Whiffy. That is actually, that's the yellow flag. Oh,
That's Whiffy.
that is Whiffy.
Oh,
That's a safety car.
that's a full course safety car. Man!
Man. Oh my, it's
Busted the similar place that Stig did. Mitchie got a call and had to leave. Oh, so that's why Mitchie had to leave. So, okay. I thought you just said nah. Which wouldn't surprise me. But safety car once again in this race. Whiffy, the third retirement in this session on lap 7 of 31. And well, oh man. Should I just get myself like like a freaking glass of soda?
Man.
I might as well. But
Yeah.
honestly, how many
Go
safety
ahead.
cars? Valkyrie asks. Right now we've had 2, but I would not be surprised if we hit the maximum.
I don't think there's a max in this game, isn't there?
I think the maximum is at least 4 or 5, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's what I've heard, but I'm not 100% sure. But oh boy.
Yeah. We're only 7 laps in this Grand Prix.
See, if there was like a time limit for this kind of race, I would say an hour and a half. Well, maybe an hour and a half. I don't know. Yeah, it's hour and 15. I would say
No?
would be the benchmark for when this race would just be like stop. Because these conditions are appalling.
Yeah.
Sprightly saying, asking it if there was 4 last night in realistic.
There was.
I think there was.
2. I can remember 3.
It was close. There was at least 3. There might have been 4, to be honest. That just shows the nature of this track. It basically breeds safety cars. Stig has left the session.
On my screen, I had like the hairpin corner. I had that camera on, and like wrestling's over around the corner. I got flashbanged essentially, really. So that's nice.
Itago saying in the chat that conditions are horrible and he's basically blind in this. Yeah, I do not blame you. Going on board with you right now. Yeah, looking on the back of Gary. I'm not surprised you say that because this is just appalling. Wow.
This is more than Monster Rain. I'll give you that much.
Pretty much. Just looking at it, we might as well just have a tsunami at this point, or a flash flood. That might as well be what this race is.
You know, if this is why we need red flags in that fun game.
For real.
This is exactly why. Because if we had red flags, in this game, we would definitely be in red flags right now.
It'd be similar to Belgium this season in Formula 1. They red flagged the session due to the amount of rain on the track. Titan is on the inters.
Bro is playing chess apparently. We're all playing checkers. Or is it the other way around? I have no clue.
I think everyone's playing chess and he's playing checkers, probably.
Yeah, I think that's how the term goes.
It could go either or, really, that phrase.
Yeah. But
Sprightly saying that the Aston Martin safety car has led the most laps so far. Yeah. In my opinion, driver of the day should go to Bernd Mailander and the Aston Martin.
hey, man.
I mean, he's basically kept everyone at bay. He's made that car an absolute brick wall. Ain't nobody getting past him.
So I don't think the inners were a good idea. Just going in the he's aquaplaning through there. I don't think it's enters. It's not even remotely close.
Yeah, the conditions still look very, very bad. I'm being told that the rules would say this would be a 1 hour timed race, possibly in the rain. I'm not entirely sure if that is true or not, but if it is, then good. I don't have to sit here for like days.
So a regular, if this was like real life, it's 4 hours to a wet. But since it's a 50%er, just split that 4 hours in half, which would be 2. I think.
Well, no, going off of that, actually, the 4 hour thing is basically for the entire session period. Whereas in terms of like the race itself, where people are actually driving on the track, that's where the 2 hour limit comes in which that was hit in Singapore back in 2017. So I'm not saying that it's impossible. It could happen, and if that's the case, then we could possibly have this race shortened to 1 hour due to these conditions. We'll just have to see, and well, if they don't complete the expected amount of laps, would that possibly be half points? I think that might be.
If it's over halfway, I think it's full points. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, safety cars in this lap. Oh, Ardell's backing them up severely, and he's going once again. Very tentative start, but DXT did not get full.
He's not been caught out at all.
Yeah, he's on the rear gearboxes. We're back green, and I can even barely see. I can't tell where each other are. As DXT
down the inside goes Ishigo.
No!
Oh!
2017 flashbacks, but wasn't as that's with the out. That's Kieran around. No, that's Bad Bunny around. As DXT is actually stayed P2. So
I just saw the save from Ishigo. That was very hard fought, but he managed to save the car only just. And now he's already on the rear of Ardell, down into turn 7, dives down the inside, late on the brakes goes the Alfa Romeo, but he's got a little bit too deep. Ardell now with the switchback going wheel to wheel, down into turn 8. Ishigo having the inside. Ardell, though, once again going for the switchback. These guys are driving hard, but Ishigo staying ahead and up into the lead of this Grand Prix. Ardell now tucked in, getting a little bit loose on the rear. So that could possibly be the effect of dirty air kicking in.
Yeah, dirty air in the rain. I don't think it affects cars much, but it still affects you. I'm not really sure. I'm not really a scientist, a rocket scientist myself, so I'm probably wrong.
Wait a minute. Looking at the conditions as of right now, they are starting to let up a little. Obviously, the track doesn't look like that. Oh, Ishigo goes deep, and Ardell's going to cut right in. They're going wheel to wheel once again, these two drivers. Ishigo's going to have to try and go around the outside. Ardell having the inside. Who's going to come out on top in this battle once again? Looks like, if I can get a good camera angle, there we go. Ishigo manages to stay ahead. But Ardell's basically pushing him through these corners, and that's going to invite the likes of Potato, Solar, Ron, and Gary as well as Ishigo. Despite making the move, he is struggling right now.
I don't think the conditions are just letting up completely. I think well,
either Piastri has damage, or maybe. I mean, looking at it right now, Piastri is struggling, and Titan is now overtaking Piastri down the inside into turn 1. Piastri trying to hang around the outside, and he actually does so, but goes off the track in doing so. Then he nearly cuts off the McLaren, but he just manages to keep it out of contact. Titan now going to try and go around the outside of Piastri. This could possibly be in the wall. No, it is not. So Titan now moves up into P11 on the inters, but the conditions are letting up. But right now, it is definitely not time as of yet.
Well, Skeppy's on the inters, so maybe.
Ooh, right. See how that pans out. We'll just have to watch the gap between Titan and. Oh, wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
I'm watching that gap between Titan and Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
No, it is definitely inters now. Titan is gaining massively now on Bad Bunny. So Titan, you are big brain. You are big brain.
Bro, I know someone's definitely been here for someone I would be screaming at them to pit. The gap is already down to 4.9 between the two.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Inters.
time. It is definitely time. Yeah, if I were Ishigo right now and Ardell, I would be told to pit now. This is the time, because Titan is gaining on Bad Bunny massively, and Bad Bunny, he isn't entirely losing time on Kieran Evans. He is starting to, Kieran Evans is starting to get away from Bad Bunny, but staying between 1.3 and Titan closing that gap right now, as it's already down to 3.7. What does Ishigo do? Ishigo is into the pits.
Everyone's coming in.
Yeah, DXD's in, Ardell is in.
Line
Potato,
up.
does he go in? Yes.
Line up.
I think everyone is coming to the pits. Oh wait, Ardell is round.
Ardell.
AZ's going backwards into the pit, sir.
Kyle Busch. Oh, he misses the pit lane.
Oh.
No.
But by missing the pit lane, he has to go another lap out on this track. Titan sets the fastest lap with a 2 minute, and he now leads the Grand Prix. Ardell, by going backwards in the pit lane, automatically resetted the track, and now has to pit because the interconditions are clearly much faster. And Ardell has to go a full lap. Eskepi gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. But yeah, Titan pinning behind the safety car onto Inters. He has made it work.
Yeah, and DXC's only 8 seconds off of Ardell alone, so that will put it 14 seconds between DXT and Titan. If there's no safety car, it's going to be a tough task for DXT to do so. But it is DXT Ishigo. Anything could happen with him under the cockpit, so we're just going to have to wait and see, really.
Yeah, and obviously a safety car could possibly ruin Titan's lead that he has right now, and it could help Ardell, but right now that is not looking to be the case, but anything can happen. As you said, the gap between Ardell and Ishigo going down dramatically. It was at 8 seconds, and by the time they get over to Sector 3, it's going to be 4 seconds. So Ardell, I just have one question. Why did you back into the pit lane?
It wouldn't have mattered
That was
anyway.
the weirdest thing I've seen.
He would have had to go another lap anyway, because if he came in anyway after being spun around, unless he was able to correct it to the left-hand side without getting any wing damage, but if he corrected it to the right-hand side, he would have to still do another whole lap. Because if he still cut in the pit lane, that would be a huge time penalty for him. So, nonetheless, I think him spinning in the pit lane has completely ruined his race.
It definitely has, as Ishigo is now on the inside of Ardell, and clearly with the superior traction, breezes past the Red Bull as Ardell is into the pits.
He doesn't even have an in-plate.
Oh, he hits the wall.
Ardell doesn't even have an in-plate.
It has gone from bad to worse for the Red Bull by backing into the pit lane, now having to pit onto a new set of inters, and also with changing his front wing. So that is going to put him down all the way into, by the looks of it, P12. Eskepi's going around the final 2 corners. And Titan now leads the Grand Prix 12 seconds ahead of Ishigo. I said to watch out for him, see how that pans out. Look how things have changed. As he has gone from last to first.
Woo! Let's go, Titan. Pulling a cookie from last night.
The master plan.
The McLaren plan, but for championship-wise,
time penalty.
For championship-wise, Ron will extend this championship gap over Ardell. I'm not sure what the points are. My phone is dead.
And Gary.
Yeah, and Gary as well. So, like I said, in qualifying, you cannot make mistakes like that, especially knowing how good Ron is when it comes to consistency. As something I already pointed out is that DXT's already dropped 3 seconds off of Titan.
He definitely has. I saw a bit of a moment at the back. That was GXR Rage. He possibly got a little bit loose on the exit of turn 13, but has managed to keep it out of the wall and managed to keep it going. But that has lost him a lot of time to Yidago ahead. And right now, the closest battle currently for the time being is between Solarv and Potato for P3 in this race. They're quite a distance away from Ishigo. Ishigo's on a charge right now.
Yeah, he definitely is. Already dropped off 3 seconds to Titan, like I said. And it is still gaining on him as he actually sets the fastest lap. Yeah, I think it's safe to say this man is hungry for a win right now.
And just looking at the pace difference between Ishigo and Titan right now, Titan's fastest lap is a 1:56.1. Ishigo, a 1:54.4. That is 1.7 seconds
It
faster.
stopped raining.
Oh, you're right.
What?
That could possibly help Titan even more, because who knows how he is in dry condition.
How did it? It went from thunderstorm to full dry in a span of what? And that's a VSC.
Virtual safety car.
That's for Bad Bunny, I think.
I tried to check on that. I think it might have been. Yes, it is. He's missing his front wing.
But the thing is you can tell the track is still very shiny, which indicates that there is still rain and puddles all over the track, and there is still massive amounts of spray. So they're going to be dry anytime soon, but it's definitely going to be dry like around lap 20.
The biggest question out of all this, when is it time for the slicks? Obviously, the best indicator, as everyone would know, is when DRS has been enabled. Piastri's got another drive-through penalty for speeding under safety car. That's the second time he's gotten that. It's gone from bad to worse for the Aston Martin. He's currently P13, and he has to serve that once the virtual safety car is done. But the big question is, I don't know when the slicks are going to be.
I don't see any spray
They're
anymore.
going to be the best tire. Actually, wait a minute.
It's now.
I think oh man, how is it dried up this much?
Hard?
That is reverse Portimao realistic. That is the reverse of how quickly that went, and Titan is in the pits.
Yeah, I think. Oh, DXD! Potato drive-through penalty, but DXD almost crashed there. But he is good to go as Potato gets to drive through. Titan is actually on the mediums. He thinks the mediums can go the whole way. I doubt it.
It looks like Ishigo's chosen the same.
Oh, really? Maybe I am.
Yeah, but the looks of it, yeah, those are the yellow wool mediums. So everyone now thinking that the mediums can go the distance. I'm not surprised, to be honest. We're halfway through this Grand Prix. It's 16 laps. That is definitely doable for the set and medium compound tire. Going over, everyone currently selecting the medium compound tire, except for Gary. Gary's gone on the hard.
Yeah, but with those mediums, a lot of times.
Rage is on a new set of inters. Potatoes on inters.
What?
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Ardell's on a new set of inters. What is going on?
It's either that we have a great game on our hands, or Potato had a drive-through. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah, and look at that. Potatoes being absolutely swarmed as now Ron Swanson's past him. Solar got past him as well. I think he just selected the wrong tire when coming into the pits, and that is detrimental to this race. He was on the podium. He was on the running for a podium, but now that he's actually gone into to a set of inters, that has ruined his chances of getting that podium, unless there's a late race safety car, and that ruins GXR Rage's chances, Ardell's chances, and Piastri's.
That is just unfortunate.
Mad scenes over here in Singapore.
Yeah.
So far the closest battle now, and with DRS now being available, it is between the McLaren and the Ferrari of Ron Swanson. Ron trying to gain on the McLaren for the podium spot. He's just sitting outside of DRS as it stands. Solar slowly pulling away as of right now. Ishigo, though, he's slowly gaining on Titan. Lap 16 of 31. Now things have gotten interesting as Kieran Evans gets past Potato for P7. And I guess you could say the Potatoes race is run and done as that is a yellow flag. And is that for Piastri? Yes, it is. He's bunked his front wing.
Yeah.
Just boop, gone.
Yeah.
Saw that happen. Potatoes now into the pits onto set a medium compounded tire. Same with GXR Rage, I would assume also the mediums. Yes, it is. and Ardell also going into the pits. And those 30 drivers' races have just been absolutely, I would say, well, dried out. Put it simply, dried out in terms of condition and just dried out in terms of their race.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, finally.
We were told monsoon rain the entire race. No.
Nope.
Yeah, guess things can change, really. But everyone's spread out a little bit now. Titan, with that gamble on the inters, everyone now onto the soft competitive tire, leads the race. 9.5 seconds ahead of DXD Ishigo, and a further 8 seconds between Solarv and Ron Swanson. And Ron still trying to get into DRS range. Titan sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 140.7. That's quickly beaten by DXD Ishigo with a 139.8. And that's just the pace difference between Titan and Ishigo. That's a full second.
Yeah. Safe to say that the Alfa Romeo driver is on a charge, already about to cross out that 9-second threshold. He is gaining quickly. Titan needs to go.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how that pans out later on in the stage. 9 seconds. It's doable. And the question is if he's able to overtake Titan for the lead of this Grand Prix. Finn Fan saying in the chat, definitely not Titan's engineer. Nah, definitely not. As that's a yellow flag. Is that for Skeppy? Yes, it is.
Very unfortunate.
Something has happened to Skeppy at turn 2 and 3. Could that possibly be the curb at turn 2? I think so, but nonetheless, manages to keep out of the wall, but has lost a lot of time to Kieran Evans.
A really closest battle on track is between Skeppy and Bad Bunny now, but everyone's just evenly spread out now. Finally some peace and calmness. But knowing this tier, it's probably the calm before the storm.
Yeah, most likely. Who knows when a safety car is about to pop up. We'll just have to see how that pans out. Solarv is now starting to pull away from Ron Swanson, so Solarv now starting to solidify P3. As of right now, it is a double McLaren podium as it stands. P1 and P3, Ishigo sets another fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and he is once again a full second faster than Titan ahead. We said it before, we'll say it again. He is on a charge, and oh boy, is it deadly.
Yeah. If you look,
this is almost like tier 2 pace between tier 3 pace. Like that, the pace he has right now is insane.
One thing I also want to point out is that Solar is only a 10th off, so if we're going to mark off DXD as one of the fastest drivers on the grid, at least right now, don't count out Titan's teammate Solar. He's definitely on his charge as well.
You're definitely right on that. But obviously, Solar keeping a bit of a gap. Actually, maintaining the gap between himself and Ishigo around 8 seconds as it stands. Obviously, that was the gap before the inter conditions were done. Now increasing a little bit, 8.1, 8.0. It's flickering, but Solar definitely is close to the pace of Ishigo. But Ishigo is definitely on the pace, well, over the pace in which he needs to do to catch Titan right now, as the gap has gone down to 7.9.
It looks like DXD is like gaining on Titan a second per lap.
Almost, yeah. As Ardell set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 139.4. He is outside of the points, however, as Bad Bunny has overtaken Skeppy. Actually, they're going to wheel to wheel, and Bad Bunny's in the wall.
Oh. Yeah, I called it.
Oh, there it is.
Well,
the full course safety car.
What do you do here?
That is a great question. I'm going to go over to GXR Range to see if we can get a good angle.
Ron's coming in.
Singapore Sling has what caused Bad Bunny to crash. Yeah, Ron into the pits. That's for a set of softs, I would presume. Gary is in. Is Itago in? Yes, he is. Kieran Evans is also in. So Ron is going to maintain P4. And he's on the set of softs. Gary's gone on the medium, interestingly.
So is Itago and Kieran Evans.
Ooh. So the question is as to whether Ron can make those laps to the point where he can overtake the drivers ahead of him with the account of making those softs last and still be faster than the drivers ahead of him. Obviously, the drivers ahead of him, they haven't pitted yet. Titan hasn't pitted. Ishigo hasn't pitted, but they missed the safety car, which is crucial.
Also, something I want to point out is that the Alpha Road driver Dixie Ishigo is actually getting the reverse role of what happened to him last week. Last week at Russia, if you remember, Taco and Ardell, with the incident that they had, Dixie was leading by over a second with Gary catching him quickly. Safety car came out and Gary got around Dixie for the win. But this week, Titan's ahead. Dixie P2. Dixie's been catching Titan. Now he gets the safety car that he needs. But the question is, will he be able to pass him?
We'll just have to see. Titan is into the pits, so there you go. That's the call. So he has dived into the pits, most likely to go onto the soft compounded tire. That's a set of mediums. Ishii goes in the pits. What tire does he go on?
I'm seeing red. I'm seeing red sauce.
Ooh. You thought he already had a pace advantage before. Mediums against sauce? Yeah, not going to go well, as Solar is pitted onto a new set of mediums. So both McLarens deciding that the medium tire is the better tire. The two Ferrari-powered cars of Ron and Ishigo thinking that the softs are better. That is going to be the story. Who can make their strategy work? Who's going to come out on top?
Well, I'd be down if there's another safety car, really. Itago's actually back in the lane.
Maybe he's thinking that the softs will be better.
Yes, he's on softs.
There it is. So Yitago abandoning his strat of going onto the medium and instead going onto the soft compounded tire. And then he only loses 2 places in terms of that. And that is from Potato and Skeppy. Ardell, interestingly, didn't pit.
In my opinion, he should have one on the softs, but 11 laps
to each their own.
remaining. Yeah, one each to their own.
Yeah. Steak saying in the chat that the mediums will be the better tire near the end of this race. I would not be surprised by that due to the fact that the tire wear, for one, is not as significant, and the mediums just tend to hold up more by the looks of it in this race. We'll have to see how that will go. QuickTime saying Ishigo's style is going to cook the softs. So possibly his aggression could be the case, his aggression of like how much he was pushing could be the case of whether he will or win or lose this race.
I doubt it. DXD's driving style is just be aggressive when necessary. I don't think he was pushing hard enough to get those mediums overheated because I was looking at him really when he was closing that gap. I didn't see anything that indicated overheating, so it looks like DXD's driving style is just being aggressive when necessary. He knows the limit, so I would have to disagree with Kuton's point there, as that's actually Aston Martin of Piastri going in the pit lane.
Yeah, Piastri, obviously, he has been lapped in this race. He's going to get off of the soft compounded tire to possibly a new set of soft compounded tire. Nope, mediums. Never mind, I was wrong. So mediums for the Aston Martin. So only 3 drivers in the course of this safety car have pitted onto the soft compounded tire. Ishigo, Ron, and Yitago. Ron is if there's one thing that we give credit to Ron for, not only his consistency is what helps him, but also his tire saving and his tire temps. He can manage the car to the point where the temperature of the tires don't overheat within the carcass and manage to keep that consistently. And that's exactly why he's leading the championship. So he could potentially be one to watch out for.
I agree 100% really. Ferrari driver Ron P4 with Ardell P10 really. Ron with Still 9 races left to go, really. 10 laps left to Singapore. Anything could happen, so I won't count it as classified yet, but we're in the later stages of the championship, as I said before. We have 8 more weeks to go. That's actually around February. So, really, it's going to be down to who has the most energy, who has the most passion. I think we're going to see who wants the championship the most around when we get to the likes of Brazil and Abu Dhabi.
We'll just have to wait and see. As it stands right now, Ron will increase his championship lead by only 2 points ahead of Gary. Since Gary is directly behind him, he'll increase it to 13 points between him and Gary. Safety car is in this lap, so anything can still change in terms of how the positioning will be for the drivers. And we'll just have to see. We have 10, when we cross the line, it'll be 10 laps remaining in this race. 10 laps of, if hopefully there's no safety car, just all-out racing. Show your maximum pace given the tire that you have. Ishigo, Ron, Yidago, all the softs. They have the most amount of pace, but can the tires last? Titan leading this race. Solarv, he was faster. We'll have to see how that pans out, as Titan is already gone, and Ishigo already on the back of him. Look at that. He's done the exact same thing he did in the inters, and now Ishigo wheel to wheel with Titan. This is exactly what Ishigo wanted. Down the inside, down into turn 1, makes the move stick, and now he's into the lead. Titan's going to try and dive it back, though, on the inside. Ishigo, though, with the superior traction, will get the move done, and is now back into the lead of this Grand Prix. So it's Ishigo from Titan. Then it's Solarv ahead of Ron. Now Ishigo's starting to break the toe a little bit from Titan. Solarv could look interested, though, on his teammate, though. Could we possibly see a swap between the two McLarens? Not quite, as Solarv is just going to stick behind for the time being, as Ron is also sticking behind these drivers as well. Ahead of Gary, then it's Kieran, Skeppy, Yidago, Ardell, Rage rounding out the top 10. Potato is into the pits on a new set of mediums, but that's not what's important. Ishigo leads the Grand Prix and is already almost building a gap of 1 second. That is exactly what he needed.
Yeah, it's already over 1 second, really. Now, if I'm Ron, I need to go, man. These softs are going to start deteriorating very, very quickly. After the end of 2 laps, really, they're going to start to fall off. So Ron needs to get past these two McLarens and build the best gap of his ability.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. Obviously, DRS is not available for the next two laps. So on lap 24, that's when DRS will be available once again. And Ishigo saying, yeah, Titan, you're not getting DRS. 1.3 between those two already, as Titan is starting to build up a little bit of a train by the looks of it, from him all the way down to P9. As Skeppy is actually looking a little bit interested in Kieran. I saw the gap being significantly reduced. Obviously, they're both on the same lap medium compounded tire. We'll see, can he possibly make a move? But also, can Solarv make a move on Titan and the McLaren swap?
Well, Ardell is going around Itago, so those softs already starting to wear off, which is not great news to DX Ishigo. So 8 laps left. Anything can happen.
And it can happen indeed. We have lost 4 drivers in this race of Bad Bunny, Whiffy, Mitchie, and Stag. Still 12 drivers remain in this race. 11 of them on the lead lap due to the fact that Piastri is a lap down. Ishigo building a gap. Already 2 seconds between him and Titan. It's the dream start that he would have wanted, and he is still pulling away. But the softs, who knows if they can last? That is just the one question that we have to watch out for. Gary's closing onto the back of Ron, interestingly. Oh, and that's Piastri spun round at the bridge. Lost his front wing. That was a violent crash.
I did not catch that.
I caught the tail end of it. He has lost his entire front wing. And it looked like he just lost it right before the bridge and just completely sailed off. I'm surprised he didn't DNF. So well done to him for not DNFing, but now he has to pit once again. And it's just, well, Aston Martin not entirely having the best of time. So far, the closest battle as of right now is between Skeppy and Kieran. Skeppy getting a great exit out of the final corner, but he gets shut a little bit wide. He's now going to go for the switchback. Not quite, though. He's going to slot behind only just as Kieran gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, and that puts him level with Skeppy and with Ardell. Skeppy already having a look, though, round the outside into turn 5. Backs out of it, though, but he's going to have the DRS down into turn 7. Kieran doesn't have the DRS. He's tucked into the pack now, pulls out to the left-hand side. He's going to dive in on the inside into turn 7 and manages to... Oh, no, he actually brakes a little bit too late, and that's going to allow Kieran to get right back ahead. So Skeppy a little bit too late on the brakes, and will have to stay behind in P7.
I would like to point out, Titan to DXT's gap is already neutralized. So that is not good.
But obviously there is the question of you can catch someone, but can you overtake is the question. Piastri gets a 5-second time penalty for crossing the pit exit white line. I mentioned that before, and you don't want to do that again, and that's exactly what has happened tonight. So we'll just have to see. Well, I mean, we don't really have to see. He's already a lap down on everyone as it stands. QuickTalk saying in the chat, Titan is holding up Solar. I would say that, but the gap between Titan and Ishigo is starting to neutralize a little bit. So maybe those softs are starting to go off already. It's similar towards what Lando Norris did in Imola this season, where he went onto the softs after the red flag, got ahead of Leclerc, and then just started to back up a little bit, but managed to stay ahead. As Piastri has retired from the session, that is at the Singapore Sling.
Is that going to be a
as Gary's gotten ahead of Ron. Gary is now ahead of Ron Swanson. Ron has actually lost a lot of time to the McLarens. So that is really how the softs are working as of right now. And right now they are clearly overheating, as Kieran Evans is now on the back of Ron, and so is Skeppy on the back of Kieran. So we could possibly see that battle start to heat up. But now Gary crucially gaining points on his championship rival and the championship leader of Ron. As of right now, the gap will go down to 9 points as it stands. So the question is if Gary can catch up to Titan and Solarv ahead.
Gonna have to wait and see. Is now actually I'd like to point out is that Titan is starting to get a move on, and if I was wrong, I was definitely wrong now. DXD is already pulled out to a 3-second gap, so if we're gonna have to see if we want a change for the lead, we're gonna have to see the McLaren swap and see if Solar is able to gain as Ardell gets another 3-second time penalty, which will not help out his championship battle.
Yeah, that is now 6 seconds added to the Red Bull, and that is not what he wants. He's trying to chase down Skeppy and Kieran for P6, and also with Ron for P5, and that's certainly not going to help him in the latter stages. Skeppy gets a 3-second time penalty, cutting the penultimate corner, trying to gain on the back of Kieran, but then pulls out to the left-hand side. He's going to dive in on the inside of Kieran into turn 1. Now quickly switch into turn 2. Kieran managing to keep it around the outside, but Skeppy with the inside, getting the better traction on the Alpine, and is now up into P6.
I'd like to point out is that we're about to see a swap for P2, I believe. No, Titan's going defensive. We're going to see a battle between the McLarens, as now Titan actually forces his teammate wide. This is definitely what DXD needed, is now they're still going wheel to wheel into arguably one of the tightest parts of the track. They're still going wheel to wheel, and Titan, Solar gets a snap. And that actually will help out Gary, and he's now in the DRS range of both of them, which is not what the McLarens needed.
No team orders clearly in the McLaren garage, and Titan, with that battle, has now lost a lot of time to Ishigo.
Skeppy's around.
And it is also... that is a Marcus Ericsson.
Yeah.
He has now gone down to P10 and almost last, as Potato is currently P11 and last of the runners as it stands. But spinning it at the bridge, clearly just getting the traction wrong, and that has lost him a bunch of time, and it's certainly not going to help. But yeah, that battle between Titan and his teammate, no team orders. Gary is now closing onto the back. Gary could potentially get a podium out of this.
Have to wait and see, as now we have 4 laps remaining. DXC's tires could not be any more frustrated with him, really. as Titan is actually already starting to gain back on DXD, so it's looking like the tires are starting to wear off.
Looks to be so. It was at 3.6 at the end of the battle between the two McLarens, and now it's already down to 3.8. 2.8, and still closing down. So that is the lifespan of the softs. They did not last long at all, as Kieran is now on the back of Ron Swanson. That's the battle for P5 about to heat up, as Kieran is going to dive down the inside, down into turn 7. Does he break a little bit too late? No, he doesn't. Great move. And is that contact between Ardell? Yes, it is. Ardell and Ron have made contact.
That is not what you needed if you were Ron, especially for this championship battle. I was on the back view of Kieran, and it just looked like Ardell just did not expect Ron to break that early and hit him. Run both of them around.
Just thinking about it now that Ron is down in P7, Gary is up to P4. Gary is gaining 12 points. Ron, if I'm not mistaken, is gaining 6 points. So as of right now, it will be a 5-point gap now between Gary and Ron. It's closing ever so much more. What Gary needs to do now is to try and get ahead of the two McLarens. He is within the DRS of both the drivers, but Titan is gaining on Ishigo.
This is going to be close.
Oh yeah. Lap 28 out of 31 in this Grand Prix. It's definitely gone faster since the start of this, or we would have been on probably lap 14. I would presume. I don't know. But Titan starting to claw back that gap, and by the looks of it, overtaking is a little bit easier around here than we anticipated. So if Titan is able to get within the DRS of Ishigo, if he has the battery to do so, and has the better traction, in which right now he definitely does have the better traction, that is going to help Titan.
Yes, it will.
3 Mercedes power cars against 1 Alfa Romeo. If Ishigo's softs are really dying the way that they are, and the McLarens and the Mercedes start to gain an awful lot, I would defend for my life if I was him.
Yeah, DXT's already breaking the toe.
Ooh, he knows he's under threat. This is the battle that's going to heat up in the latter stages of this Grand Prix. 1.3 now between Ishigo and Titan. Ishigo, he got the jump on Titan. He got the lead of this Grand Prix. He extended it, but now the gamble of going onto the soft compound tire is now going to start to bite him a little bit, as Titan is just flirting within the margins of DRS. He could potentially get it if he gets a really good exit up here. Not quite. So he's not able to get within the DRS yet. Ishigo gets a 3-second time penalty. Now that's definitely going to ruin it, as Titan is definitely within the 3-second. Same with Solarv, and same with Gary. So Ishigo, with that penalty, is going to lose the podium. And Titan is already within the DRS. Oh, how things have changed.
Okay, apparently my mic was muted the whole time, but it seemed like I saw DXD hit the wall even before Sector 3, so DXD maybe could have some wing damage.
Potentially, we'll just have to wait and see. But wing damage or not, that is detrimental to his Grand Prix with that 3-second. Itago says the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 1:39.1. He actually pitted, interestingly, so he now has the fastest lap, but is not able to get the point due to the fact that he is currently P11. So we'll just see if he can possibly catch up to Potato. But lap 29 of 31, 3 laps left of this Grand Prix, and Titan currently in the box seat to win this Grand Prix.
Well, ooh, Solar got a little bit of a snap there, so my question is, how long will Solar and Gary be patient with Titan?
Oh! Gary just hit the wall.
Is that wing damage?
I'm not sure, but it was quite the hit on the barrier, and he's lost quite a bit of time in doing so. I think he does. Oh, no, he does. He does.
Oh.
He must have.
Oh yeah, he does. He definitely does.
Yeah,
Looking
he
through that
does.
corner.
No, that is not what Gary wanted. He was on route for a podium, and that has slipped out of his hands with the hit of the barrier.
Look, gap to a
Oh.
leader. He still has it for 2.1. 2 laps left with wing damage. It's gonna be close.
It will definitely be close. Titan now has DRS on Ishigo. He is gaining on the Alfa Romeo. He doesn't have the battery to do so, and he just lost behind, closes the DRS early, and just decides that sitting behind is most likely the way to go, as he does not need to fight this. He knows that he has it. All he has to do is stay ahead of his teammate, and as of right now, it's a McLaren 1-2.
Yes, it is. It's something I
Ardell
want
is
to point
into the
out.
pits.
Probably for a fastest lap grab.
Most likely.
One thing I do want to point out, though, is that Gary's not losing time anymore.
That could potentially be the softs definitely going off and starting to hold up Titan and Solar by the looks of it. As Titan once again has the DRS, but is not able to make a move just yet. But going through, Gary definitely is within that 3 seconds as it stands. And with that, he's going to gain 15 points on
Oh, that's
Ron.
Skeppy.
Or no, he's not. Skeppy's out.
Well,
Late drama. Skeppy has now retired at what looks to be the same spot that he spun a couple of laps ago. And that is not going to cause a safety car. But we are now going to come on to the final lap of this Grand Prix. One final lap. Titan currently provisionally leading this Grand Prix. Ishigo currently up in front, but his softs definitely have deteriorated. 3 seconds, not what he wanted. Titan just has to stay there. He knows what he has to do. Solar, he just has to stick there as well. He has to make sure that McLaren don't battle them much. He may want the win, but this would be a great result for McLaren, as that'll jump them up massively in the standings. Because as of right now, McLaren, if I look over at the team's championship, they're 8th with 71 points. So this would jump them massively.
yeah, it would. So, this is going to be very interesting to see.
Definitely is. The gap between Gary and Ron now, Ron gaining, by the looks of it, still 6 points, if I'm not mistaken, and Gary gaining 15. That is 9 points. It'll be 2 points between Gary. Oh, and Solar's made a mistake. That is now detrimental. That is crucial in the battle for the championship. Gary is now provisionally sitting P2. Instead, he's going to be a point ahead of Ron. All he needs to do is just sit there, and that is him in the championship lead as it stands. But going through the 3rd sector, Ishigo, he looked like one of the fastest drivers out there, and he certainly was with this pace. Going on to the softs, it has worked out for him by retaining the lead, but being on the softs has deteriorated massively, and 3 second is not going to help him at all. He rounds the final corner. He's going to cross the line first, but it's going to be Titan that takes the win here in Singapore. Gary takes P2, and you're right, Solar is around, and that has cost him a chance of a podium as he falls all the way down to P4. So Ishigo manages to stay on the podium, but Titan take a bow for not setting a lap in qualifying. He has gone from last to first. Huh.
Battle for P9 right now between Potato and Ardell.
That is, you're right, as Ardell nearly missing out. But I am just astonished as to how that race went.
Thankfully,
It was a
no delay for
gamble.
Tier 4.
Yeah, luckily. It was a gamble that Titan took going on to the inters. And oh boy, has it worked out as he takes the win. P16 and last of the drivers at the start of the race. He has made the strategy and the calls count. And he has won the Singapore Grand Prix. Gary picks up his 4th podium in a row. And crucially, with Ron being in P7, he has now taken the lead of the championship. Ishigo, so close but 3 seconds being detrimental to his race, and will have to finish in P3.
I think we found out the reason why Ron's P7. He's saying that he had 16 laps of fuel in the car.
I was told that, yes. Wow. As I shall now empty drivers to the booth, but Titan takes the win here in Singapore in a very wet but very strategy-made Grand Prix ahead of Gary and Ishigo. Solar finishes P4, spinning off the final corner. That is not what he wanted. He'll still grab a handful of points from McLaren. Then it's an Alpine 5th and 6th. Ron Swanson finishing in P7 ahead of Yitago. Potato P9 ahead of Ardell with the fastest lap. We had lost Skeppy, Piastri, Bad Bunny, Whiffy, Mitchie, and Stig from this Grand Prix. Oh, and the lobby's bugged.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I'm fine with it. I'm okay with looking at this. Just.
Just waiting for we're just waiting for Gary. Oh no, never mind. It's fixed still. There we go. So I'm trying to get the drivers in here. Here we go. Wow. We're now just waiting for Gary to join us in the booth. But we can start with who finished P3 in this race, and that was DXD, Ishigo, and Zach. Take it away.
DXD, I'm gonna let you know that your mic is echoing bad, and make sure everyone's audio is included. DXD, you had the best pace, hands down, between all the drivers tonight, but electing to go on the sauce for the last safety car, really, it seemed like you had the pace as well to hold them off, and you did, but that 3-second really affected your finishing position, and you wouldn't finish on the podium without that soft spin. Just give me your thoughts about this race.
Yeah, it's whatever. I didn't do much practice, which is why I was just pretty dumb now looking back at it, because if I did practice, I would have set one on the mediums instead of the softs, but it's whatever. I had pace in the wet and in the dry, so it was a fun race, catching Titan and then passing him. And then the sauce dropped off a bit earlier than I thought, and then the penalty was just clumsy. I was just cutting the inside of the final corner too much, but it's whatever. Another missed win, but that's been the story of my Tier 3 debut so far.
I mean, at least you have a win.
Yeah, that is true. I do have a win. Just the one. I think it could add four.
I mean, hey, a win is a win.
Yeah, better than nothing.
Yeah, it is. But nonetheless, you still managed to grab a podium. Your mic is actually still echoing a little bit. That'd be great. You fix it yet? Here we go.
I think. Yeah.
Well, it's still iffy.
Oh my god, I'll just mute myself. Thanks for the interview.
Yeah, that'd be best.
Okay,
GG, well,
Gary and Titan, by the way. Good job.
Yeah, GG's, mate. Unlucky. You'll get there. Solid, yeah.
Yeah.
Pace
Pace
was good.
the entire race.
Oh, I know. It was fun.
Take care, bro.
Yeah, but going into next week after this race, we go over to the Japanese Grand Prix there at Suzuka. What are your chances of that Grand Prix, and how do you think you'll fare?
I hate Japan with a passion. I just hate the track. So, I'm not looking forward to it.
Fair enough.
Yep. Although I didn't like Singapore,
Well,
and I did decent, so, we'll see.
True. But nonetheless, congratulations on the podium. It almost looked an uncertainty, but then Solar spinning at the final corner, that definitely helped. So, well done to you, as we're now going to move on to P2, and that is Gary. Gary, you had a bit of a lowly position at the start of this race, but luckily, due to all the safety cars and the strategy, you managed to make it count, getting ahead of Ron. And with this position, with P2, and Ron all the way down in P7, if I'm not mistaken, you currently lead the championship by 1 point. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, boy. Over the moon, mate. Well, like I say, you never know what's happening with penalties, so you never count your chickens until the eggs have hatched. So we'll, yeah, like I say, it's going to be a close one till the end, I reckon. So we'll just keep plodding on.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a close one nonetheless, but either way, it is definitely a good note to be on going into next week. And how do you think you'll do at the Japanese Grand Prix?
Yeah, like I say, we'll see what the weather's like, see what the conditions are like, but if it's all, if it goes my way, then it goes my way. It's like this today. Like I say, I was down bottom near P8, P9 for quite a substantial amount of the race. When Ron went onto the softs, I was debating it, and me and my engineer were thinking there's got to be some underlining to this. There's some reason why he's done it, and Ichigo as well. So yeah, so we just stuck with pretty much what we know, what we've so on practiced, and yeah, like I say, it paid off today. So let's carry that momentum forward.
Definitely paid off indeed. Zach, do you have any questions to Gary?
No, I do not. Congratulations on your P2.
Cheers. Just to say, GG's to both McLarens as well as unlucky on the last corner. That's what moved me up my position to Solar, I think it was. But GG, good racing, unlucky. But yeah, GG's Titan. Well done, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, and congratulations to you on as well for grabbing your 4th podium in a row and grabbing the championship lead. We'll see how that fares out, but well done to you, as we're now going to move on to Titan. And, well, I'm just absolutely astonished. At the start of this weekend, you didn't set a lap time in qualifying. You were the only person to not set a lap time, down in P16 for the start of this Grand Prix. And, well, the strategy calls for going onto the inters when it almost looked as certainty that it was wet. It definitely paid off in your favor. And from there on in, you were definitely at the top. Crucially, with that 3-second penalty of Ishigo, you have pulled a masterclass from last to first. How do you feel about that?
Oh my god, I need a towel. I'm sweating so much. My seat is soaked. It's fabric, so it's gonna be a pain in the butt to get the smell out. But oh, so yeah, going on to inters was my strategy or my engineer's call, FinFan, and I was debating if I should trust him because he led me to straight before, but he called me out being having no balls, so I'm like, okay, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna go to inters. I'm last place. What am I gonna lose? Then Jeff's like, so we're gonna go to inters, and so the race just kept coming to me. Luckily, like I kept getting more lucky and more lucky and more lucky, and then the safety car happened. Ichigo was behind me. I had a crap restart. He passed me. And I just kept my head down, waiting for those softs to fall off. I knew he had more pace than me. So I knew I couldn't pass him on pace, so I was waiting for the final lap to pass him. Then he had the 3 seconds, so all I had to do was use the DRS from Ichigo to keep Solar behind me, and it was basically not trying to bend the car at any point. The last stint of the race.
Well, nonetheless, it definitely worked out in your favor, and like I said, last to first. That is something not many people can accomplish, yet you've done exactly that. And crucially, not only for your championship, but for the team's championship as well. P1 and P4 in this race, that is detrimental to your position in the team's championship, grabbing a huge handful of points. And going into next week at Suzuka, do you think McLaren will perform similarly to today?
I think Solar definitely can perform at Suzuka. I'm completely dog water at Suzuka, so hopefully I can just get a few points and not be a complete disappointment for my team. But I'm gonna try to do some more bold strategies if it starts to rain or something weird. Just I'm gonna try to keep it entertaining for myself and all the viewers.
Well, that's exactly what we want. That is entertainment, so it's a good thing that you're providing that. Zach, do you have any questions to Titan?
No, I do not. Once again, just congratulations on your win.
With that then, that is going to wrap up Tier 3 for tonight here at Singapore. But be sure to tune in 20 minutes time for Tier 4, where they tackle the Marina Bay straight circuit. But from Zach and I, Well, at least from Zach, at least, as he will not be with me in the booth for Tier 4. That is going to be everything for him tonight. But you'll definitely hear more of me later on in 20 minutes' time. So good day and good night.